Hey guys, I've just got my hands on these the recordings, the raw recordings for the coursework that they're sending out as a replacement this year to you actually recording, and I'm very surprised to see that it is a professional recording. I'll ignore what I'm doing now. That's an accident. That has benefits and potential pitfalls. I've not heard these yet, um, but so this video is me just sort of going through them, and then hopefully a little guide into how to set yourself up technically before you start to do the mix. So first thing to note is the file type. It's a WAV file, 44.1 kilohertz sample rate, 16-bit. So you need to set up a new project, call it that. Set those settings, set 44.1 and 16-bit settings, and then drag them in. I mean, it's quite minimal in terms of instrumentation, especially for Muse tracks. I think they've left some things out from what would be the final production. So as I drag those in, I see the names are pretty horrible. So in order for me to work, I'm just going to quickly name these. Hi Tom, kick, and right, okay. Signal overhead, left and overhead, right just now. Moment, snare, bottom. I'm just renaming them. Snare, top. And that'll do. So the overheads they've provided as separate files rather than a mixed stereo file. Much better from my point of view that you work on a stereo track for overheads rather than two mono tracks. Saves on plug-in power. Saves you having to sort of copy the plugins across. So create yourself a stereo track and move them just left and right onto that, and that'll be that done. Let's have a little listen. So when you listen to the overheads, you hear that the hi-hat is on the right. Where's the hi-hat line? Over here. Which means, well, actually, Muse have a left-handed drummer, and so it doesn't matter what it means, but it means that they've recorded that from the drummer's perspective. So that means the floor tom, because he's a left-handed drummer, is on the left, and the rack tom, well, probably slightly right. So it's kind of another opposite way around of thinking. Or it's just, if you want to think it's a right-handed drummer, you can ignore that and just think, well, it's from audience perspective. But you need to make sure in your mix that you follow those rules. That would be maybe something like that. It's really raw recording. As you'd expect, you've got to do everything. Lots of work to do. I mean, so one of the benefits to having a great recording is that your ultimate finished work will sound better. But the window for getting it, sort of the range that you'll get in submissions is going to be much narrower from their point of view. Everyone's going to get something that sounds pretty good because the source material is good. But I suppose they have to assume that you all could record perfectly. It's the only fair thing to do. So that makes sense. It's raw. It's a lot of work. I'm glad that they've not seemingly done anything for you on these drum tracks. At least I noticed. I noticed that they've given you separate takes on most things, but on drums there's only one take. So I'd assume that's right. But watch out for errors, as if they might have expect you to fix some drum edits, and that would help if we worked out the tempo, wouldn't it? We're not told the tempo, are we, anyway? Maybe it's in the documentation somewhere, but if not, it's not that hard to work out the tempo, assuming they've used a nice round number. I'm going to work in minutes and seconds. Right, so create yourself a drum bus, and however we create drum buses, new folder, call it drums. Just for me, that's the quickest way to create a drum bus in Pro Tools nowadays. So got that there. In many ways, it's really consistently played. The compressor is not going to be doing much leveling. See, the kick gets loud here. And there could be some compression on the way it was recorded. Or, you know, it's a good player playing consistently. All right, next we have I bring in the bass guitar. So where they've got multiple takes, it's yeah, I'm not sure how best to handle that on Cubase actually. If they have like a playlisting thing, that folder, I would make this on playlists. If you've got like Pro Tools or Logic or whatever on Cubase, I'm not sure they have playlisting yet. Maybe they do. I'm doing them a disservice. Put them on playlists so you don't accidentally end up with multiple bass going on. Everything aligns to the front of the session on all these files. So always just take it to the front of the session. Now the bass sound in this track, so I really like this track actually, I know it very well, is iconic, and it doesn't sound like that, so that is a DI bass. So they're expecting you to do the effects, do the distortion, I think there is on the bass. And maybe if you've got amp simulating software, that would be the thing to do for that. Guitar, just one guitar. There's no way a track like this. I don't know. I'd have to listen to this maybe. Oh, it's coming out my other headphones, which I can't hear right now. Where's my other ear? Yeah, okay. For me, the fact that they've provided twice as many guitar takes as other takes is a sign that they're expecting you to use two of them to create a stereo width. So takes 1, 2, 3, for instance, could be guitar 1. I'm just gonna put them into playlist as well, and then the other takes could be guitars, guitar 2. I'm just moving that into playlists. So playlists, if you don't know, are just a way that one track can hold multiple takes. Oh, they look really different. That could be one with, so that's got distortion. That could be a DI line then. No, that's DI as well. But DI with some distortion on it. Take 2, also more distortion. Yeah, slightly different distortion sound. And take 3 then, no distortion. Okay, so they're not as clear cut as I thought. Sort of retake, as in different performances. Let's move 4, 5, and 6 in. This is a different guitar part. This just seems to be choruses. So takes 4, 5, and 6 are definitely a different guitar part. Same thing. We have what seems to be no distortion. Seems to be heavier distortion. I mean, it's not that heavy. You're going to have to add more, I think. That's a lead. So I mean that's a lead guitar then, and you're probably only going to be choosing one of these takes to be playing with to sort of get the sound you need. When I say there's distortion, it's straight off a pedal or a slight bit of an overdrive pedal. It's not a lot of distortion, not for the levels that Muse work with, and that means guitar 1, I think you're going to be splitting this up again into 2. So you end up having 2 rhythm guitars to boost, to give it width and things, especially in the chorus. Let's just double this up. So you'd be using, say, that take on there, and then the other distorted one. So you would end up with 3 guitars. Again, especially in the chorus. Verses you might not have. And then the lead will be down the center more, or slightly off center. Probably. Again, these all are DI. There's no amp sound, so you're going to need to use amp simulators to get that click take. Bass guitar, drums, keyboard. 1 keyboard file, okay, and it's stereo, okay. So that's a stereo keyboard file. Not a lot to say about that. It's just going to be what it is. Is it DI out of a synth or something? So it's got a few different sounds on it, like with strings, and kind of like that bell-like piano with a synth pad back there. So you might want to consider splitting that up into its different sounds on your mix. I will do that just to demonstrate what I mean. So as there's 2 different sounds, you'd say, well, these are strings really rather than a piano. So roughly I'd have then strings and piano. It's a synth, not really a piano, but it's got that piano overtone with the synth underneath. But they're going to want to be treated differently in your mix. They're going to want different EQ and different compression, so they're different things. These are little things they're going to be looking out for, I think. Muse clap, that'll just be a backbeat. That doesn't. Oh, is that in the intro? The bass bit, I think. Right, okay. That might want to consider that part of the drums. Let's see what they. We'll have to listen to the main track, and then a click. Which, if I think about it, there is a click on the song in there, just in the intro. Yeah. So listen to the original, see how they deal with this. Yeah, not too worried about those guys. Not a lot to say about them. Vocal, drums, bass guitar, backing vocal. Okay, so vocal is quite something. You're going to get Matt Bellamy's vocal all to yourself to play with. Quite looking forward to hearing this actually. Like that ain't Matt Bellamy. This is not Muse. Our time is running out. Well, that's disappointing. Anyway, vocal. Sounds like a capable vocalist. Stick the takes in. So they're going to be looking for you to possibly create double tracks out of the alternative takes. Certainly do a compilation where you choose the best lines and parts from each vocal to build your best one. And we have a backing vocal. Drop that in there, which just seems to be in the, is that the middle 8? I won't let. Yeah, and there's 2 of those, weren't there? 3 of those. Okay. So my instinct here is something like ooze. Are they different? They could be harmonized. they're not. But you can still sort of put 2 in, pan left and right, create yourself a double track. And I'm just going to pop that on a different playlist. I mean, I wouldn't think, unless there's an obvious error, these will all be fine. So they're all the same, there's not different harmonies in there, but you would maybe use those to create a bit of width later in the song. Okay, cool. So vocals, bit of gentle tuning. He's a good singer, but I think they're going to be looking for you to tune it. It's really raw. With the no amp recording is a bit of a disappointment for me. So you're going to have to use amp simulators and effects to get that sounding like it's real, rather than straight out of a DI. I just don't think a studio would have done it like that. They would have recorded a good amplifier. But that's not what we're trying to do here. They're trying to replicate what you might have done at A level, which possibly is DI everything. Bit of a blurg. You can't stop me screaming out. And so vocals in the chorus. Again, I might be tempted to create a double track here. Just going to duplicate that. Grab another take. I mean, unless any of these takes are obviously terrible, right? There's no harm in at this stage just grabbing bits without concentrating that much. I won't let you bury it. I won't let you smother it. I won't let you murder it. Our time is running out. So creating a double track out of the multiple takes they've given you, creating more than one guitar out of the multiple takes they've given you. They've only given you one proper clean thing, so you're going to have to deal with one of these slightly distorted overload driven guitars. So I'm going to stop this video here because this is the end of sort of the analysis of what they've sent you, I guess. And then over to mixing it. This file is ready to mix. I might have a go myself, see what we get. I hope that was useful for you.